ask of you, bro. And we're gonna talk some boxing we just saw. We just had a Oscar Prince salute, bro. We just had a great night of, I don't know if it's a great night, but it was an enjoyable night, man. Christmas night. After we had I had kind of a hectic day. I talked to a lot of family members. In fact, I got some incredible calls today. I got some calls from some of my brothers out there, bro. And it's just a good feeling, man. Camaraderie. Getting in touch with people that you haven't heard from, that you don't see, man. Really, that you don't see, that I've never seen. I got a phone call from a brother of mine, man. Mike 202, my brother, man. Much love to you, man. I sent him a few boxing magazines, and he's been busy working. We haven't seen him around here around the YouTube family. And he gave me a phone call this morning. He's just showing his appreciation, and we talked for I don't know, maybe a half hour, 20 minutes. I don't know, but it was just good to hear him, man. It's nice to know that he's back in the community with us. And shout out to my brother Mike and Oscar Prince out there, man. Thanks for stopping in. But anyway, man, we just saw the fights. I wrote I had to write the names down because I'd forget the fights we saw, man. It was the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey, man. I tell you, if anything, tonight would be a nice night to live in Newark, New Jersey, because, man, you could just drive right down there, no traffic, no parking. I mean, it was a carnivorous hall, huge place. It didn't look like there were a lot of people in there. Walk right up, get your tickets. It would have, great Christmas present for your dad or somebody who loves boxing, man. But anyway, man, we were blessed to get it on free television, and it was. Bro, it's Merry Christmas. Shout out to the PBC for doing that to us. I don't know if anybody gives us boxing like that on free TV. And let's see, the first fight we saw, I think on the free TV show was Joey Spencer and Olimber Ponce. Joey Spencer, he definitely a blue chipper. I mean, he outclassed him, but it was a highlight knockout, a fantastic knockout. Joey Spence. He's a two-time PBC prospect of the year. He needs to move up in competition, and we'll see what happens with Joey Spence. So that was a fight that was ended kind of as expected. A dramatic knockout is something we always like to see. Let's see, the fight after that we saw that deserves mentioning was Clay Collard, man. We've seen him around. He's a UFC fighter. He boxes a lot. He's a guy that's called in for an opponent. He earns his money, and he did tonight. Let me lower this a bit. I hope it's not too loud, man. I don't want to. There we go. Just a little soft, man. That's some cool sounds. Listen to the heavy bass playing of one of my favorites, man. The guy's name is Richard Davis. He's playing with Elvin Jones, man. It's tough for me to even concentrate with this music. This is the kind of stuff I love, man. But I'm sitting here with the Toka 2. I've got my medical marijuana card. I always keep that pinned around me, especially when I'm on shows over here. If anybody gets the wrong idea, this is for medicinal purposes only, bro. I've got a tremendous case of arthritis in my shoulders. I couldn't throw a punch if I wanted to, not with any force upon it at this stage of the game. But anyway, man, I keep myself comfortable, and I enjoy boxing. I enjoy hanging out with the fam, so bear with me for a hit. My brother told me, he saw me on here, and he says, it's kind of boring you and all those bonds. I'm like, bro, man, my real brother, my flesh brother. I talked to him today from out in Denver, Colorado. Man, and he sent me these steaks, these Kansas City steaks. It was 2 strip steaks, 2 filet mignons, and 2 New York sirloins. And, man, I'm a carnivore. I like my protein. I like flesh protein, man. And these were the tastiest steaks. The filet mignon was like butter. It was mouth watering. But I'll tell you a little story, man. My wife made a couple of crab cakes and the fillets. I mean, a Christmas Eve meal. It was fit for kings, man. And I'm enjoying it. And she runs into the kitchen, and I'm like, well, what the fuck's going on? And I can hear her coughing and choking. I thought she was just fooling around. Excuse me here. She started gagging hard, man. And I said, "You okay, baby?" I read, "I'm joking." She really was, man. started to give the Heimlich, man. First of all, I gave her those chops in the back between the shoulder blades. And she stood up and she went to the bathroom and bent over where she was standing before in front of the sink. She bent over in front of the toilet and boom, the hunk of meat came out, man. If you ever saw Mrs. Doubtfire, it was kind of like that, man. It freed me anyway. Great ending, but it was something where, you know, the thing I'm saying is, you know, you got to be prepared for things like this. I did a show with my brother Big Duke with Fourth Quarter. You know, we talk about nutrition and health, and you know, we did a show about having your being prepared for situations and having your CPR certification, because you never know when you're going to use it. And knowing the Heimlich maneuver, man, that came in so handy. I don't know if I saved my wife's life, but you know, man, we continued on, and you know, bro, just, you know, being prepared like that, you know, just, you know, I mean, and you guys come on here and see me, you know that one of my main things is, you know, being you know, nutrition and, you know, physical fitness, and you know, I don't know, man. You know, and it all goes into being prepared. Because when I was a personal trainer, we had to have the CPR certification. We had to know Heimlich. You know, we had to have a lot of these things to get insured. And you know, they come in handy in real life. They really do. So you know, just you know, be aware of that. You know, it's a good thing to know, because it's better not to use it, but you know, it's kind of like that pistol, man. It's better to have it in your pocket and not need it than need it and not have it in your pocket. So anyway, man, you know. Shout out to being prepared for situations. But anyway, man, you know, the Clay Collard and Yoelvis Gomez, man, what a puncher out of Cuba, man. This kid is he was 4-0, 4 KOs, and I was watching the force of his punches. And it was Cuban style. He looked like a Cuban fighter. Cuban punchers tend to throw wide punches, and you can see their shoulders are, you know, they're wider. And you can see where they get their power when they throw their punches. It comes from the, you know, from the deltoid. It goes to the tricep all the way down to the toe. And man, you know, this Yoelvis Gomez is somebody to watch, man, because he hurt Clay Collard. Clay Collard is a tried journeyman. He's been in front of us a lot, and I know he doesn't win, and he's also an MMA fighter. I think they said he had like a 24 and 4 MMA record. His record in boxing is 9-5, well, 9-6-3 now. But anyway, very durable. But Yoelvis Gomez, man, keep your eye on him. Cardinello, thanks for stopping in, bro, man. Happy holidays to you, bro. Appreciate you coming in here, man. You know, the fight after that we saw was let me see, that was the Elan de Jesus and Rajan Chance, man. Rajan is an amazing fighter, a local fighter, a blue chipper. And this was a rematch. They had a fight before that was a draw, and this is good where they're putting prospects in with each other, undefeated prospects. You know, this is what it's all about in boxing. You know, the hell with the if it's a well earned, oh man, that's only going to better your not only your eyes in front of the fans, but you know, it's going to better yourself. You're gonna know what it's like to bite the bullet and take that L and come back, and that's the key in boxing. Because you know, there are none of the boxers that I consider to be the top fighters of all time who haven't had that L, man. You know, that's part of the experience, bro. You know, you get that L. I mean, look when they put the great Sugar Ray Leonard and Thomas Hearns together. You know, both of these guys, WBA and WBC welterweight champion in there for undisputed. Thomas Hearns got that L, but what did he go on to win? 4 more titles, 4 more weight classes. I mean, Thomas Hearns was a bigger fighter after that fight, and Sugar Ray Leonard, man, you know, he went on. He caught his L's, but he came back. They all do. All the greats do, man. But this fight, man, Rajan Chance, a prospect to be watching, man. He definitely had the better boxing movement, and you know, he was using that jab. He was using the jab, the 1-2. You know, he outboxed De Jesus. He was the better fighter tonight, and it was a great fight, man. Chain with Ice, bro. Thank you for stopping in, man. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate everybody for stopping in here, man. You know, Christmas Eve. This was actually not Christmas Eve. Christmas night. this was just kind of something I didn't even plan on doing. I'm watching the fights. It was dead around here. I didn't see anybody on doing anything happening. And I said, hey man, let me just go on and share a few moments with the family out here. If anybody stops in, great. If I just did one and talk to myself and hey man, at least we had it for posterity's sake. And it's fun coming on here, man. I dig it, man. I'm starting to learn a little bit more, technically about this stuff. And, hey, man, it's an experience. But the main event, man, Vito Melanicki and Nick DeLoma, and this one kind of perked me up. Hey, L Dub, man, salute to you, brother. Salute to you, Andre, you two out there. Man, Nick DeLoma is a local guy from Providence, Rhode Island, and I'm checking him out, and he's boxed a lot at Twin Rivers and at Foxwood. He's moved to Florida, but still, man, Rhode Island is from Rhode Island, and it showed in the fight, man. He's a tough kid. He was there to fight. He was a tough journeyman, man. He had the high defense. He didn't look like he was in the best of condition, but he put on a good economy for himself. And Vito Melanicki, bro, he's only 19 years old, which by today's standards, that's a baby. Wilfred Benitez would say, dude, you're an old man. But anyway, man, this is only a kid just out of high school. So we have to watch him develop. And this was a good test for him because he's coming off a loss to James Martin. So he knows what that hell's like. He's coming back. He's going to avenge that. So I think we're going to see good things out of Melanicki. What I saw the jab and then the countering with that right hand, and it was mostly jab all night. Stick with the right hand. Salute Kwee, man. I'm so glad to see you, sister, man. Kwee's one of my favorite ladies on YouTube, and it warms my heart every time she stops in here. And shout out to you, Kwee. Thank you for coming in. It was just a cool night of boxing for a great day for a day where it was just a very very inclusive day for me. I went to see my sister earlier, the family, and they had. They give out presents, and I told them, man, we don't need any more junk, gift certificates, edibles, or cash, which was kind of stupid of me actually, because I did get some gifts that were really really cool and made me sound like a jerk, But hey, man, it's my family. If you can't fuck around with your family, bro, who can you fuck around with, man? You're my family too, man, and I appreciate you fucking around with me over here. But anyway, man. Getting back to that, my sister made a ham. I'm not a big ham man. I'm not big on the pork, but I searched for some lean slices of it. I had a ham, some sweet potato. She had that the famous string bean and French onion casserole that they've been making for the last 30 years. Chad Perez, thanks, bro. Thanks for stopping in here, man. I appreciate it. But anyway, man, we did that. They were passing around the blunts before the dinner. I brought a couple just for me and my wife, and it just a good experience. But we're still. Excuse me for a second. After I blow the schnoz, I'm gonna just do it. Try not to gross us all out. And my water. I'm an advocate of water. Water is life, man. Keep hydrated. It tastes so good. It really does, man. But anyway, bro, like I was saying, man, the Melanicki, good. I think he's a good prospect. Young kid though, right now. And right now he's coming back from a loss. He's got a couple of wins. He looked really good. He looked tentative though, and I think he should have taken out DeLamba a little sooner. The referee stopped the fight. It seemed like in the ninth round when Melanicki landed that counter right hand. He opened up. He was open. In fact, in the third round, he tried to stop the DeLamba, but the DeLamba, like I said, tough kid, man. Hey, Rhode Island kids, we're all tough kids over here. We don't win them all, but we're not gonna be ashamed of the show we put on, and DeLamba has nothing to be ashamed of. and his corner stopped the fight. He wasn't going to stop it. Sometimes it's good to have your corner in there looking out for you. Stopping the fight. He didn't protest once he saw his corner stop the fight. Melnicki, he's going to move on now. He had his chance to showcase tonight. I think he should have. I think he should have put on a better performance. But all in all, it was a good card, man. A free card on Christmas night. I don't remember the last time we were treated to something like that. It was a great thing. I had a good time. I was sitting here by myself watching the fights, which is the way I like it. I came back from the hectic family life, man. Listened to a few shows over here on YouTube, man. I was over with Kwee at the liquor spot, man. I love being over the liquor spot with Ashley, Kwee. Tay was with her family tonight, but she stuck her head in there, said hi, man. I was hoping she'd do a banana tonight, man, because I don't last as long as those bananas do. But Merry Christmas out there to the liquor spot. If you're not subscribed, I found out today you can just run your mouse over the or on your phone, just hit it, and where it says go to site, go there and sub to Kwee. Sub to everybody out here, man. Everybody in my room, because nobody out here is. There ain't no simps out here. Everybody in here knows boxing. We all know what we're talking about. I've seen some great shows from L Dub, the man out there, man. And there's a lot of them. Oh, I got one of those trolls out here, man. And you guys wanna nail it for me, please? The VACAC thing. That's a porn site troll, man. Brian Hodkin, man, salute to you, bro. Thanks for stopping in, man. Merry Christmas. Thank you, man. Send him to Sleepsville, whoever nailed him out there. Kwee. You're a shooter. That's why I give you guys all wrenches, because I figure, man, I don't want anybody shooting out anybody that comes in here. We all have different opinions. We all have different things to say. Hey, man, say what you want. Just you know my rules, man. We're not gonna say we're not gonna use racism in here, man, and we're not gonna get personal. Aside from that, this is boxing. Everybody has their own opinions. It would be a fucking bore if everybody agreed with what I have to say or what you have to say, man. That's. We're opinionated, and that's what we can share over here, and that's why I'm giving you guys all blue suits when you start coming in here. I get to know you a couple of times. Hey, man, we'll see what happens. I don't know, man. I don't even know where this YouTube experience is going to take me. Right now it's a cool thing because I had nothing to do. It's 11 o'clock over here on the East Coast, man. I was going to wind it down, but I'd rather do this, man. I'd rather put some tunes on. Talk some boxing, man. Maybe drop a link in a few. After I had a couple more tokes of this, so I can, Actually, man, my antidepressant over here tonight. I got some cookies, some of the Tahoe cookies that I'm still playing with. I haven't re-upped anything else. I was going to go to the dispensary yesterday and grab some edibles for my wife for Christmas. It's a beautiful thing, man. We get up this morning. I don't know, man. She gets up 5, 6 o'clock. I get up around 8. It was like living in a cloud. It was really raw out there. I usually go for a nice long walk in the morning. I take the dog out. Man, get the fresh air. I bring a bone with me. Puff the bone while I'm walking. Get a nice take on what the morning's at. And man, yesterday it was snowing. I started walking. I got maybe a quarter mile, man. It was like walking on the ice. Bang on my ass. Got back up again. I can still feel it, man. It was, But anyway, today was just raw, and it was raining, and raining is not a fun way to go for that early morning walk. But anyway, man, me and my wife, we didn't give each other anything for Christmas. We just gave each other love, and we just had a great morning. We passed the toker around. We listened to tunes, man. We listened to some R&B, some jazz. We listened to some really, we just had a great morning. We just talked about, sending out some texts to different people we haven't seen, and just really, man, having a real Christmas where I wasn't expecting anything, and I hope she wasn't, because, man, I don't get to town that much anymore, bro, and man, we know how things are, man. We got enough junk in here. There's really nothing that I can give my wife that she can't go out and pick up or get online. And, that's the way it is with us, man. But anyway, man, Christmas it should be every day. I know I got this funky setup in the back, but that's because the old lady wanted to show you guys a little, she wanted to show off a little bit, man. Shout out to her. She's in bed nodded off right now, man. I'm digging on some jazz talking to you cats. You know what's been the big topic of the day I've noticed around here, man? The WBA, the WBC, the IBF, WBO, especially the WBC now, man. WBC is, it's almost like people are just waking up, bro. I've been watching this nonsense since I started watching boxing, bro. Like I'm going back to the '80s, man. It started off. It was just the WBA and the WBC, and the IBF came along later on. But I mean, all of these organizations, they're ranked with corruption. Back in the day, Don King was in bed with WBC president Jose Sulaiman. Jose Sulaiman. It's from Maurizio Sulaiman, Jose Sulaiman. Man, that's pretty interesting. His father was the president, now his son is the president. People wake up. It's what we call nepotism. It's kind of like a king, and the prince becomes the ruler, and a monarchy. Isn't that kind of fucked up? And it's the same with the WBA, man. Carlos Mendoza and Gilberto Mendoza, father to son. But we're the fools, bro. We're the ones who listen to these mandates, and they create these ratings. This corruptness that's been going on, and they're not located in the United States, man. They're located in the WBA started off in Panama, moved to Venezuela. Now it's back in Panama. Because basically they're untouchable by the United States, and this is the same with the WBC. It's centered in Mexico. Back in the day, we used to call them. They used to be called Banana Republic organizations. The alphabet soup. Jeff Lacerda, bro. Thanks for coming in, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate you stopping in here, man. Talking about a little of the corruptness, man, that's going on in boxing. Excuse me. WBA and the WBC specifically, and then the IBF too, because the WBA was run by Bob Arum. The WBC by Don King, and then Arum had a squabble with the WBA, and out of nowhere, the representative from the WBA suddenly starts the IBF. That was Bob Lee, the first president, and man, that was so corrupt that he ended up being investigated because this was in America, in New Jersey. The FBI investigated him. Bob Arum rolled over. Bob Arum was giving him bribes to fix ratings. And Bob Lee ended up going to jail for racketeering. Bob Arum was the rat. He rolled over. He did nothing happened to him. He just became more powerful. But this is the organizations. And when Larry Holmes was the champ, he was never undisputed or unified. He started off as the WBC champion. He beat Ken Norton in what was considered at the time. It was a title fight because Norton was given the championship. Due to the fact that Leon Spinks didn't want to fight him. So due to his win over Jimmy Young, Ken Norton was the WBC champ without actually winning the title in the ring. And he lost it on his first defense to Larry Holmes. And Don King, man, Don King knew Larry Holmes was a savvy dude, bro. He's already pushed Larry Holmes to the brink, all the way through the Thriller in Manila days when Larry was sparring with Ali. And, Larry knew what Don King was like. So Larry, he defended the belt a few times, but, man, he didn't want it. He gave it, he dumped it. He vacated it. He didn't want to follow their rules. They wanted him to fight, I believe it was Greg Page. There was a lot, all Don King fighters. Don King controlled the division. And, Mike Tyson wasn't too far in the background either. So he was making a lot of noise. As an undercard fighter. So anyway, Larry Holmes didn't, he didn't want it, and the IBF, they wanted to legitimize themselves, so they gave their initial heavyweight championship belt to Larry Holmes. That's the belt that he lost to Michael Spinks. But I mean, these belts, they're ridiculous. We follow these organizations. Johnny Blaze, bro, salute my brother. Every time I see one of my smoking bros come in here, man. It's almost like I want to do another talk over here because this is like, I mean, shit, man. This is Silent Night, man. I want to see the Three Wise Men, man. And speaking of them, man, shout out to the Three Wise Men. Stormy B, man, Curtis Anderson, man. I hope you're getting better. I hope you return and Scrapbook, my brother, man. I saw Scrapbook tonight, man. Scrapbook was over at the liquor spot, dude. I love Scrapbook. I love when he blesses my chat, man. Scrapbook is he's all of those guys, man. The three wise men. That's why I said that, because of the holiday season. It's almost like with the North Star, the shepherds, the three wise men. We have the three wise men over here in our YouTube community, man. Shout out to them, and get back together soon, because Thursday nights aren't the same, bro. They're not. That's a really cool organ solo there. I think that's I think it's Lonnie Smith. I'm not sure, but anyway, man, nice stuff in the background. I figured I'd put something in the background besides besides me burping or whatever the sounds may be on the microphone. But I've been on here for a little bit, man. We've had a good talk. I wanted to go over the fights, and we talked about the rotten corruption going on in the WBC today. They're trying to mandate what's a super champion. Who's a mandatory. It's crazy. It'll drive an old casual like me nuts trying to put these rules together. Trying to follow the direction that they're taking boxing. Where my day, Joe. My day is the best fight the best, regardless of the belts. I don't care if you're strapped up or if you're not strapped up. You're gonna get strapped up. You're gonna fight the number one contender. You're gonna be the man. You're not gonna. Nobody's gonna duck you. If you start making noise in a division, you start being, you expose yourself to the public. Like tonight when we see these fights on this PBC card. PBC they have to keep running with the ball now. I mean, next weekend we got this heavyweight extravaganza that's maybe 5 years too late. But hey man, it is what it is, man. I'm not putting out any money for it. I have no horses in the race. It sure as hell to me is better than a Saturday night with no boxing. Like I was telling some people yesterday, man. Saturdays used to be. I used to watch Me before I knew about YouTube boxing. I used to watch Me TV, and they had westerns on there. And I was watching them today. I was watching. I was at my mom's house. My mom's passed away then. I always say my mom's house. It's my sister's house now. But my brother's watching the old westerns. He's watching Gunsmoke and fucking Wagon Train and all this fucking crazy shit. And it just kind of brings me back to when I was a kid, man. So man, I'm feeling good. Shout out to everybody out there, man. Merry Christmas once again. Oh yeah. This is the kind of music I dig. You know what I'm going to do, man? I wasn't going to do this. I was going to get up. I'm going to drop a link out there if anybody wants to come in here, man. It's Christmas. You want to tell me about what's happening for Christmas? What you thought of the fights tonight? What you're going to think of the fights next weekend? Or whatever else is on your mind. If anybody wants to stop in, Unrivaled, man. My brother. In fact, you're the man who kind of told me about dropping these links, because I did a great show with my brother Mad Chad, and that's another guy that I want to shout out, man. I shouldn't be getting off the air without shouting out Mad Chad. We did a show the other day. We did a show on a really cool welterweight fight that we saw a while ago. It was Donald Curry and Lloyd Hunnigan back in 1986, and I saw that fight, and I remember seeing it, and I also remember we went over it. It was a great fight. We recapped it. I learned how to do a split screen, so we showed the fight, and we talked about it. It was a great show. We ran it for about 45 minutes, and then Matt Chad goes, "Hey, drop a link," because my brother Matt Chad right now has got the COVID, bro. He's under some serious pressure, man. He's got the headaches, and say a prayer for my brother Matt Chad, man. That's my main man over here on YouTube. He drove down to my house from Maine, bro. Imagine that, man. That's the only person I've ever looked in the eyeball. Really, man. He comes to my house. He pulls up. The first thing he does, he gets out of the car. He says, "Let's fight." I'm like, what the fuck? That's Mad Chad for sure, bro. But hey, man, I got somebody back there. Somebody come visit me. Who we got here, man? That's Brian Hopkins. Shout out to you, brother, man. Happy holidays. I'm glad you're up here. Hey, my music's not too loud, is it?
No, it's fine, man. How you doing? How you doing, Bruce? How you doing, man?
I'm doing really, really well. Right now the day's over. It's winding down, and I'm just thinking about what a great day I had, bro. It's the gratitude, and I just wanted to share the fights we just saw. Come out here and just feel that it's this vessel that I just found this YouTube fucking vessel, man, and I get on it every once in a while. Maybe I go a little too far, but it's fun, bro. You're one of the fun guys that come on there. All you guys are. It's not no serious stuff. We talk boxing. We talk music. We talk weed. Whatever the fuck we want to talk about.
Yeah,
I love it, bro. How about yourself?
no, I enjoy it too. I didn't watch the fights tonight, so I don't really know. I'll probably pop them in tomorrow at some point. But I was at my sister's tonight, and I got back around 2 p.m. or 2 a.m. and I was like, okay, at that point, you know what I mean? So I didn't really watch the fights, but there was a robbery, was there, or something? Sounds like there was.
Well, hang on 1 second. What was that again, bro?
I didn't get to watch the fights tonight. I was at my sister's. I got back around 2 a.m. and so I never got to watch the fights. It sounded like there was a robbery or something tonight.
No, I didn't really see any robberies. The free card started off with Joey Spencer, and that was a clearly. It was one-sided, but it was a punch of the year. It was a knockout like that. And then what was the second fight, man? It was the Jesus and Rajan Chance fight. Yeah, that was. I wouldn't call that a robbery. There was a split decision, and I thought Rajan Chance was the better fighter. I thought he won that fight clearly.
I get you. I get you.
But I just saw it. It's one of those things where I just had to write down the names quickly when I saw the fights. I didn't want to blow them coming on here doing it live. But I didn't see anything controversial in the fights at all, man.
Okay.
It was a cool night for boxing. We saw some prospects, if we want to call him that. Joey Spencer, like I said earlier, man, he's been PBC Prospect of the Year for 2 years now. He fought better competition. Aside from that, man, it was a nice mellow card, a perfect way to end the Christmas, man.
Yeah. No, sounds good, man. I'll definitely pop in tomorrow and rewatch those fights. Sorry, I got something stuck in my throat. Give me a second.
No problem, bro. No problem, man. I was speaking earlier of how my wife had a fucking. I had to use a Heimlich maneuver on her, almost a Heimlich. I used a pre-Heimlich, the chops to the shoulder blades. She had something caught in her throat. So, man, it's definitely no laughing matter. I've started coughing on here. Hey, Jed Kiley, salute my brother, man. Oh, Jed Kiley's backstage. Sorry, bro, I wasn't paying attention. Absolutely add you to the stream, bro.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas, my bro.
Oh, we got a question on there. I'm just... Bruce, ain't that heavyweight card next week on Fox Sports? Yes it is. Yes it is, Toby. Can't see that card selling many pay-per-views. Fact, bro. The thing is, if that card was on 10 years or 5 years ago, it would have been a very interesting pay-per-view card, highly anticipated. But now, hey man, I can't see it selling many pay-per-views either. I'll be watching it, but as far as paying for it, nah, man, that's not how I'll be rolling there. What's up there, Outlaw Boxing? How you doing this evening?
Not bad, bro. Merry Christmas, my bro.
Same here, bro. Same here, man.
Merry Christmas, bro, Brian. How you doing, bro?
Tonight, bro.
Yeah. Well, our Christmas was yesterday, so I'm just recovering today. Well, I didn't have too big a one, so. I went home pretty early, so I'm feeling all right. Yeah, you lads going good?
I'm good.
I'm doing
Just
great,
had
bro. Hey,
something
did you
stuck.
catch the fights tonight, Jed?
Nah, I didn't see him, bro. I heard the Cuban prospect fought. I heard he looked good.
Yeah, he the knockout puncher, man. He was unbelievable. Gomez, wasn't it? Yeah,
Yeah, that's what his name,
uh,
Gomez.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Elvis Gomez. Tremendous. I mean, he's one that you're going to be seeing a lot of, which is which is cool because they actually showcased him on a nationally televised free boxing card instead of burying him on like a DAZN card that starts at 1 in the afternoon in the U.S. And you're seeing 12 fights before the main event. This was a definitely a highlight for his career. In fact, they said it was his first time fighting in the United States.
That's cool.
yeah.
That's cool.
Some good Cuban fighters coming through. That Dave Morrell, he looks like a problem as well. You know, the
Yeah.
guy at 68. Yeah, he looks really good. I hope this Andy Cruz even turns pro. You know, he's probably the best amateur in the world at the moment. And yeah, he's got another dynamite Cuban prospect by the sounds of it.
What? Yeah, as I said, I didn't watch tonight's cards.
Well, I guess with a headliner like Vito Melanicki, it's not really going to draw a lot of heat. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Yeah.
But it's cool that Al put this fight on. The PBC gave it to us for free. To me, it was a Christmas present. It was a gift, and it was we could watch it without having to stream it. Didn't have to worry about the thing fuzzing out on us. Mine doesn't do it anyway now. The new streams are real cool. I guess Jed popped off. I'll keep my eye on him. Jed, if you want to jump back in again, bro, I'll.
I wanted to watch boxing. My sister was like, "I'm not watching boxing," so you know yourself. she's like, "We're not watching boxing." Right? My nephew stayed up late tonight and playing PlayStation with them. So, what are you gonna do?
Fistiana, salute to you, man. Shout out. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever it may be, man. Salute my sister. It's always a pleasure to have you in here. But I know what you mean, Brian Hodkin, and I'm blessed. My wife knows boxing comes first in here. She's not a big boxing fan. She's a minor fan. She probably even knows more than most of the casuals out here. But she's not. She won't stay up like past 10 o'clock like I will. Till I'll stay up till fucking 3 o'clock if I have to, whatever it may be. But she doesn't give me any bullshit. If there's something on that, she very seldom even watches television. So I don't even have to worry about that. If she usually watch like CNN or something like that. But if there's a fight on, there's never an argument. I'm very, very fortunate in that aspect. Bro. Fights come first, man. I don't care what it is. If it's maybe the president announcing that we're attacking China for World War III. If there's a boxing card on that night, it's getting preference. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Yeah. Well, I grew up with 4. Sorry, there's something wrong with my throat. I had a piece of cake earlier, and I think there's a wee piece still stuck.
Oh, bro, right. You're not giving me any news with that. Like I was explaining the other day, last night I had an incident with my wife with a piece of steak caught in her throat. I know what it's like, and that's why I keep the water by my side. I probably had 45 ounces of water since 5 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah. Well, I grew up with 4 older sisters, so one TV in the house. Anything I ever watched when I was younger, I had to fight for it.
Man, I have a house with a living room and 2 bedrooms, and there's a TV in each bedroom and 1 in the living 2 in the living room, as a matter of fact. Hey, shout out to Joe Lopez, 40 ounce, bro. Thanks for stopping in, man. Merry Christmas to you, my brother. Toby Bartlett. Did I shout you out yet, man? If not, shout out, bro.
Yeah. Are you part of Champ Roth Prediction League? Are
No,
you?
I'm part of the prediction league that my brother G5 Jeff has. But I
No?
forget about it, and I was like in second place, man. I was going to win the damn thing, but I forgot about it for a couple of weeks. I went back, and I think I'm in third place now.
Yeah.
You know, I was just getting lucky, I guess, and I was. But no, champs. I heard about it. People have told me, but man, you know, I don't know. It's not at the top of my list, and I'll get in them for 1 week. And I'll do well, or I won't do well, but then I'll forget about it. So I'll
Yeah.
do 0 for those 2 weeks. So you know,
Yeah, I get
I'm
you.
playing out of the hole anyway. So
I
I like doing them though.
Yeah, at the beginning of the league, my aunt was sick, so I forgot to do a couple of weeks, and I just fell so far behind. So and I think I've missed 2 other weeks. In between then. So
Yeah, that's the problem. If it's a tournament and you miss a week or two, you know, you're playing comeback. So
yeah,
but I love doing it. But predictions with me, man,
I get you.
it goes both ways. A fight is so unpredictable, and the upsets that we've seen lately.
You can get early stoppages, quick stop. Referees just stepping in as soon as fighter gets trouble. You can see a fighter gets so much leeway in a fight. And then he goes and knocks the other guy out where he should have been stopped. It's unpredictable. When you're dealing with people and you're dealing with, when you're dealing with people, it's so unpredictable.
Well, Bill, that's what I'm saying with G5 Jeff's prediction league. I'll go in there and I won't even remember what I predicted because it'll be at the time. I'll be making the prediction and then it'll say the result, and I'll put the result in there, but then it'll say what round, and I'll say eighth, no, probably the fourth, no, but sometimes I'll get them right, sometimes I won't, but I do change a lot. I'll change at the last second, but I've been lucky over there. And like I said, there's a lot of names in there. A lot of people do G5 Jeff's prediction league, with his buddy Shane out there, man. I don't know if you've ever been on the site, but he's got a great site. So if you're not subbed to G5 Jeff, definitely sub to him. Kenneth Johnson, salute to you out there, my brother, man. Thank you for stopping in.
I definitely will.
Merry
that's
Christmas.
a good shout out. So I definitely will. I just want to say, because it's 4:25 a.m., I've been drinking all day, so
I've been smoking all day. Me and my wife started this morning early. We were partying. We had a good day. We love each other, and today was Christmas. I was in the giving spirit. I just everybody that I saw that we had, we were seeing eye to eye with. I just Merry Christmas them, man. And we're still watching out for COVID around here. So we know nobody's getting too close. We weren't passing the blunts around, but it was cool though. It's a beautiful day, man. A beautiful end to it. Ending it on here. Listen to a little light jazz, and I'm gonna be fading out very shortly. But shout out to everybody that came in here, man. Hey, Brian, what fights are you looking forward to? You looking forward to the heavyweights next weekend, or do you think that's long overdue in ho hum?
I think it's long overdue. I'll definitely sit down and watch it. You do got I Walk the Surf Like a God versus the undercard of David versus Goliath. We all know who that is, King Kong Ortiz. Who was on the undercard of David versus Goliath.
Now, where did Carlos Negron come from? The only time I heard of him was when he was rumored as an opponent for Deontay Wilder with Wilder's comeback when it was in the middle of the litigations. So it was like an internet rumor. I don't know if you remember that, but
I believe he's from Puerto Rico. I'm not sure. It's either Puerto Rico or Mexico. That would be my guess. Carlos Negron. I've heard the name. I've actually seen him fight. But I'm not sure if he's either from Puerto Rico or Mexico.
But does Carlos Negron and Sanchez actually deserve pay-per-view co-feature status?
Sanchez does more than Negron, I would say.
And why is this fight a pay-per-view in the first place? They just treated us to
it shouldn't be.
This
It
should
should
this,
be.
this should be a Fox a Saturday night Fox fight or even a Showtime fight. It would be great. But back in the day, this would be on par with like a Cedric Kirshner
Yeah.
heavyweight extravaganza or one of the HBO's heavyweight fight. You know, when they would put three heavyweights together, like when they did with oh man, I think they put Lennox Lewis and Ray Mercer, and they had Michael Moore and that guy that was 7 feet tall, Mike the Giant White. And then I think they might have even had Tim Witherspoon on there. I can't remember who he was fighting an up and coming fighter, but he was the stepping stone there. But anyway, man, this fight's on par with that. Not something that they want us to shell out $40 for. That's crazy. You know, I'm not going to do it anyway. I'm going to watch the fight.
I'm not going to hear. Policy. My policy is I'm only paying for the fights I want to see. If I don't want to see it, I'm not paying for it. And
I want to see them all, though. That's the problem with me.
Yeah, well, I will support a fight if I think, it's a good fight. Like I will dip my hand in my pocket and support it if I want to see it. You know what I mean? I will dip my hand in my pocket for it. If I don't want to see it, I'm not putting my hand in my pocket.
Well, I would do that, but the hand in the pocket is going to come up empty. There's no extra for pay-per-view if I want to do it the way the business of boxing wants me to do it. But but fortunately, man, we're in the internet age. All you have to do is ask Google, how can I see the Sanchez fight free tonight? And they're going to give you 5 different options, man. You don't even have to www. It's click here.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no illegal actions performed there, man. You're streaming a fight. It's out there to watch. As long as you're not downloading it and selling it, or charging admission to come and see it. If you're doing it in a bar or a nightclub, then you can get yourself in trouble. But streaming a fight, man, please don't let anybody fool you. Don't let Floyd tell you you're breaking the law, bro. Streaming a fight is as legal as watching me right now on YouTube.
Well, the way I see it, right? Just say if I get Bud and Spence, right? Fight I wanted to see for a number of years, maybe a few years too late, but just say if that fight happens, I'll put my hand in my pocket to watch it, right? Because it's a fight I want to see, right? Right. Just say last year Tyson Fury and AJ was fighting. I'd put my hand in my pocket, right? I put my hand in the pocket for AJ versus Usyk, and I paid the Sky pay-per-view for that, right? So if it's a fight I want to see, I will put my hand in my pocket. That's not the problem, right? But so often it's not fights I want to see, so I don't put my hand in my pocket, and I'll here, and sometimes I have to be selective because I'm not the wealthiest guy. So sometimes I have to pick and choose what I pay for and what I don't. But if I think it's worth the admission money, I will put my hand in my pocket. If they're giving me what I want, I will pay. Right? Because I'm a very simple guy. You give me, you give me a good product, I'll pay for it. If you do not give me a good product, I will not pay for it. Simple as that there. Right?
Well, it's, the way I look at it is, I look at it simply, man. If I want to support fighters, I'll donate money to ring10.org. I really don't think buying a pay-per-view is supporting boxing. I think it's supporting the fallacy that they can put together these mismatches, charge us exorbitant prices, and expect boxing fans to be like sheep and follow the head sheep right into the slaughterhouse.
I get you.
Not me, bro. I mean, I know how to watch a fight. Know what I'll do with that Spencer and that Crawford fight? I'll download 3 different sites. So if one goes out on me, I'll go right to the other one. I'll have 3 screens open on one of my 60 inches over here, and then I'll have and I'll be over here talking to you cats on YouTube. I mean, this is a different age of technology. Shout out to my brother 88 Sports out there, man. 88 Sports knows we work hard for our money, bro. I don't care how you get it. You sweat for that money, and you're gonna give that to watch a fight that I don't even care how good it is, man. When you can just go online and watch the fight, it's economics, bro. If my brother was fighting, I'd stream the fight and I'd take my brother and his wife out to dinner. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not going to play this stupid game where they're not giving us what we want, and it's available over the internet, bro.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm just not gonna. I'm not gonna give them my hard-earned money for something that I can see for free. And bro, that's the way it has been for me for almost forever. The last fight that I paid for was the rematch with Thomas Hearns, Iran Barkley. Even the transmission came in shitty. I vowed I wasn't going to do it again. I haven't. And bro, Bruce Goes doesn't miss any boxing, man. You know, before I learned how to stream fights, I'd go to a friend of mine who had you know, who had the service, the cable, whatever it may be. But you know, my point is, I'm not going to shell out $80 every month to see a pay-per-view card that I can get for free. You know, and there's nobody knocking on my door. You know, I had some pervert down the street that I walked out there one day walking my dog. There must have been 20 Ford Escorts and 25 guys dressed like stormtroopers with black and hoods on. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? A drug bust? They said, no, some guy child porn over here. I'm like,
Oh
whoa.
my God.
And you know, man, you know, that's a whole different thing. This guy's downloading, he's trading with a bunch of perverts. Yeah, go get him, throw him in fucking jail. But dude, I'm streaming a fight. Anybody can do it. It's not illegal.
I get
You know,
you. No, I know it's not.
I mean, people should get that mentality. Maybe the people from pay-per-view will wake up. They'll find a new platform, a new way to sell their fights. See, dude, when I used to think back, the fights I paid for, we'd have to go to a theater and see them. Those were closed circuit fights, man. You know, I saw Roberto Duran and Sugar Ray Leonard at a theater. I saw Larry Holmes and Muhammad Ali at closed circuit at a theater. Those were event fights, and the places were packed. One place had 10,000 people in it. One theater had 3,000 people in it. I mean, it was worthy of going out. You think you're gonna? You think? Damn, you know. I mean, what's the last pay-per-view that we had, bro? I can't even remember what the fuck it was.
Cruz and thing, I think.
Okay, Cruz and Tank Davis. Do you think that's going to sell out the Providence Civic Center or even like a 3,000 seat Low State Theater? Come on, bro.
No, like I get that, right? Not a fight I would pay for, right? Neither would I pay for Rolly Romero versus Tank Davis. I wouldn't pay for it.
I'm not going to pay for any of the fights when I can get them for free. If I have to go out and go to an arena and see a closed circuit telecast, bro, then yeah. Hey, Teach, man, salute to you, bro. Thanks for stopping in, man. Yeah, you're catching the late end of my show over here, bro. I went over the fights we saw tonight. The lovely Christmas day of boxing. It was a beautiful thing, man. And you know, I was just going over that. I was winding down, man. I dropped a link. My good brother Brian Hodkin stopped in here, man. We're reminiscing a little bit. You know, we're just bumping pushes in the air. We're talking about boxing. And Toby Bartlett, man, you got a little question out there. See, I keep neglecting this feature over here where I can put the question on. I can put everybody up there. That's what I should do, man, so I don't miss anybody. But he said, Bruce, I bet Mrs. Bruce wouldn't let you buy all the pay-per-views at $80. No, hell no, she wouldn't, bro. I mean, you know, Mrs. Bruce likes to smoke a reef, and that $80 is that's that half ounce of kush that we puff on a weekly basis. But you know, regardless, man, that $80 that's two grocery bags full of stuff. You know, we're on an unlimited budget. I got no cash. I got no credit cards. I got no cash up. I'm here for the love of what I do, man. And I can't afford to buy pay-per-view fights, man.
Yeah,
you know, I haven't. And even if I could, bro, dude, I'm from Rhode Island, man. You know, we get everything with a discount. We get everything for free. Nobody pays retail over here. I don't know anybody who buys pay-per-view fights. Nobody. First of all, when I go down and see my bros down the end of the street and I talk boxing, they know, man. When they see me, it's, oh, we're going to talk boxing. But anyway, I always hit them with you guys see the fights last night? They have no clue who fought last night. Maybe the fights tonight because it was on Free Fox. A few of them will watch it, and bro, they'll be excited when I get there because you know that'll be something to talk about. and that's cool, man. If that draws people to boxing, and I can have a little part of that, because it's nice. I'll hang out there for 15 minutes, I'll 20, whatever it may be,
Yeah.
smoke a bone, let my dog go for a run out there. But it's boxing that's the fucking centerpiece of it all. And
Yeah,
if
well,
the more that they can do this like they did tonight, make it free, because these cats aren't going to spend $80. You know
I
what I
get
mean?
you, right?
Shit. I don't think
And
they'd spend $80 if Muhammad Ali came out of the grave and fought Joe Frazier. You know what I'm saying, bro? They just don't have
Yeah,
that
no, I get
concept of
you.
buying a pay-per-view like that.
Yeah, and even at that, there, right? Those cats ain't right. And this is what I think about the pay-per-view model, especially with a PBC. I think it hides fighters. I think the pay-per-view model hides a lot of fighters from the casual fans. And what I mean about that, right? Not even the fans, right? If they can get it for free, they're the average fan, or not even the average fan, the casual will not even stream it. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, they won't take the time out to stream it. And that's the problem. To me, that's the big problem, right? So as long as they keep doing this pay-per-view bullshit, right? These fighters, boxing is going to be in the same state it is in now when it comes to, like, unless you're a hardcore boxing fan, you're not gonna go out of your way to watch fights. You're not gonna do it. And you say it's easy. It's easy now. All you have to do is ask Google. That's true, but the casual fan ain't even going to do that, and that's the problem. So it's a lot more fights should be on free TV, on regular Fox, on regular ESPN, on regular. If they could do that, and they get a lot more fights done that way, then some of these fighters may build up a following. Somebody may, some of these guys, some casual fans may like the style of certain boxers, and they start following them. And then as they're watching, they see other good fighters. That's how that's how you get the sport up. And that's something that's not done today. And that's something that's not done today. And the pay-per-view model is hiding fighters. It's hiding a lot of good young talent from being spotted by a casual fan. And I'm telling you now, unless you're a hardcore boxing fan, you don't know who half these guys are. And that's the problem. Right?
And see, these guys, they're not even new, but they're old boxing fans. But yet, they're just old timers who just can't see Pam for a fight that somebody they've actually never heard of, because these fighters, they have to be developed. They have to be nourished. They have to know who these guys are before they're going to.
But they have to be developed in front of an audience, Bruce. They have to be developed in front of the American audience, in front of a worldwide audience. And if that's not happening, then a lot of these guys will go. Who was the young man you were talking about earlier? Right, it was his first fight in America, the Cuban.
Gomez.
Right. If he has 4 or 5 more fights on regular Fox, right, and he comes through, he could get a following before maybe he gets his first pay-per-view fight, right? And more fans may buy more fans may buy a Gomez fight because they've seen him fight 4 or 5 times on regular TV, and some fans might like a style, right? But that's how you do it, because if you're doing pay-per-view and pay-per-view and pay-per-view and pay-per-view and pay-per-view, right? Not only is it the main card, like just say Cruz and thing, right? But is the undercard getting ignored because people ain't watching it, people ain't buying it, right? So more free boxing, please. On regular TV, more free. That's ESPN, that's Sky Sports, that's BT Sports, whatever, right? Whatever you're paying, right? ITV used to have Saturday night cards on ITV. So did it when I was growing up. I used to enjoy them.
Well, you know how it was here, bro. How
Hmm.
it was here was the Saturday afternoons on free television before cable.
Yeah,
You'd see
yeah,
tremendous fights. I mean, you'd see fights that now were absolute pay-per-views. You'd see
mm,
Alexis Aguayo, Ray Boom Boom Mancini,
yeah,
fights like that. They were built up. They had followings. People were going to celebrate. Mancini was the not the overwhelming favorite, but he was favored. CBS was behind him. But anyway, man, these are all free fights. They were showing us
yeah,
Duran, Leonard coming up, heavyweights, Holmes and Tate, all these guys. They were on free TV. Then
yeah,
the introduction of cable,
yeah,
where it kind of phased out the free fights, but yet we had Tuesday night fights on ABC cable, and then we
yeah,
had Friday nights on ESPN, and the quality might have been affected, but the quantity,
yeah,
and plus HBO would stick the championship fights on there, so we were saturated. We had some great fights. Hey, let me shout out my brother Mo Boxing out there, man. Happy holidays, and my main man JC, the Godfather, he calls me, bro. JC's my brother out there. Salute to you. Salute to Mo Boxing, man. Thank you guys for coming in here on Christmas night, man. Man, I talk fast and I'm long winded. I know I've been on here too much already, man. I'm over here winging it with Brian. We're talking about anything we think about in the boxing world, man. I'm just talking about something right now that's that's a pet peeve of mine, and that's pay-per-views. And I've been talking about it. We're talking about the organizations that run boxing now. Now we're a little bit into the pay-per-views, and my thing is, man, don't give your money to the machine, bro. Stream these things till they find a new platform, till they give us quality over
yeah. I get
quantity.
you.
They're throwing
I get
pay-per-views
you.
in our face, $80.
Yeah,
Oh, man, if you can afford that, then you have enough money to be educated enough to know that you don't have to pay that money. The money that you earn, bro. It's crazy out there, but I don't miss a thing. JC, yeah, I'll do my thing over here, brother. I'm gonna give it a shot, and I'm gonna close it up in a little while. I've been here for over an hour anyway, man.
yeah,
Me and my buddy Brian Hodkin, man, one of the finest boxing brains to come from overseas, man. The man is a former fighter. The man's a student of the game. Brian Hodkin knows his stuff. He doesn't speak loud, but you listen to when he speaks because he speaks facts.
yeah. Thank you for that, Anoibris.
Anything you want to
I
say before
enjoy.
I close it up over here,
Yeah,
bro?
I enjoy coming on, chopping it up. It is for 4:46 a.m. here, and
Wow.
I've
You
I've
are
been drink
hardcore, bro.
I've been drinking since uh I've been drinking since midday yesterday. So
Shout
um
out to you, bro.
I'm about to drop off here and go to sleep, but nah, just what it is, man. Boxing, you know, I enjoy I do enjoy the sport of boxing. I enjoy the concept of what boxing is and what it can be, and I believe boxing could be better. With the idea of getting a lot more of these fights into the eyes of the public, getting a lot of these fighters' names in the eyes of in front of the public, and not hiding them behind a pay-per-view model. And I've been screaming about this for years. They've been hiding fighters, they've been hiding a lot of fighters for a pay-per-view model because not, how can they get a fan base? How can some of these fighters get a fan base when they're not seen by the general public? And I'm not talking about boxing degenerates. I'm talking about the average person who will switch on the TV in the middle of the night, switch through channels and say, maybe stops off at the boxing channel, see some boxing on where they don't have to pay for it, see some boxing on, and they sit down and watch and go, this is a good fight, or that guy looks to be a good fighter, a good boxer, and maybe gain some fans that way, naturally, like they did back in the old days. Because uh, as you said, right, one of the big things about the boxing in the 80s and the 90s was exposure. Them guys were getting exposed to a national and worldwide audience. And a lot more people remember boxers from back then than they do boxers today. And that's not a coincidence. That's not a coincidence. Right?
No, that's a fact, bro. Because they were on at a reasonable hour.
Yeah.
Your mothers knew who these fighters were. Your fathers knew. Everybody was. It was a thing where the television was a central location. We didn't have to sit there with headphones on or looking at our phones. It was more of an accepted thing. Everybody knew boxing. We love boxers, man. Back in the 70s, the 80s, everybody loved Sugar Ray Leonard. I don't care if you're white, black, brown. Sugar Ray Leonard was the All-American. Everybody wanted Sugar Ray Leonard to win. He was the darling, the American, the golden boy. Everybody was on the Sugar Ray Leonard bandwagon. That's the way boxing was. But now it's so fractured that who's the standout in boxing today? I don't know who it is, man. There's nobody to me that jumps out at boxing. You can say Canelo,
the one guy's probably Canelo, right? Probably name recognition will be Canelo, right? But if you put a picture, right, to just say a 30-year-old person, right? You put a picture of Mike Tyson and another picture of Canelo side by side, and you asked them, who's that guy, right? I would say 99% of the people would point Mike Tyson out. Maybe 60 or 70% would point out Canelo. And that's me being generous with a 60 or 70%. Right?
That's fact, man. That's fact.
That's what's wrong with boxing. That is the biggest problem with boxing. It's not getting the exposure it should be getting. And I've been saying this for the longest time. And if that's going to keep on happening, then, it's just going to be hardcore boxing fans talking about boxing, and casuals really don't give a shit about this sport. What we'll be doing is we'll be just talking to each other, which I don't mind doing, right? But I hope to bring more casuals along on the journey and getting them into the sport. That's my goal. I want boxing to be recognized again as probably the best sport in the world for me. It is the greatest sport in the world for me, right? And it does not get the recognition these days it deserves. Sorry. It doesn't. It's not getting the recognition. And boxing's doing a disservice to itself. That's just where I am with.
I hear that loud and clear, big bro. I'm gonna, like I said, man. You want to say some last words? Because I'm about to get out of here. Okay. I'm gonna watch the Night Stalker tonight, bro.
Okay, thanks for having me on, Bruce.
Oh man, it is my pleasure to have the great Brian Hodkin on here, bro. Man, anytime you get on my show, you're definitely increasing the real estate value around here, bro. I appreciate it, man. I really do, man. But the bottom of my heart, man. Nothing but love and respect for you, my brother.
Absolutely. Happy Christmas and a happy New Year to everyone. Sorry, my throat's killing me right now. It's so witchy.
Hey, bro, get some honey and tea in there, man. Take care of yourself.
Happy Christmas, happy New Year to everyone, and have a good one, guys. Peace.
All right, man. Hey, Brian, I appreciate that so much, and everybody out there, man. Bruce goes over here, man. We're about to sign off. It's been a fantastic show, man. I wanna shout out to my brother Spike out there in Colorado if he's listening, man. Marvin Hagler, we miss you, bro. This is the first year we miss you. But my brother JR, he died the same day, Marvin Hagler. And anybody out there, man. If you're suffering through any blues, any hardships, man. Hang tough, man. My heart, for what it's worth, bro. Positive vibes. That's what we're trying to produce around here, man. Thank you, everybody, for coming out here, man. Nothing but mad love and respect. Anybody that I missed, I didn't give a shout out to, man. I'm sorry. Please stay. Please give me a thumbs up if you can, man. I think that makes a difference. I hear everybody saying it. Maybe comment down below when the show's over, man. Just take care of yourself, man. Bruce Goes is going to be around, so around for a while, man. If I don't see you soon, I'm going to see you on the 29th, bro. That's my 67th birthday, and we're gonna party out here. So peace out, everybody, man. Thank you.